Hi, my name is Andrew Mantilla. Today I'll be speaking on the subject of astrology. Before we begin, I would like to express that I don't believe astrology is a matter of faith, but rather a tool to aid in our observation of people and of personalities. Although many people may confuse the two or believe that they are the same study, astronomy and astrology are different. Astronomers would argue against the correlation between the two studies, and astrologers would happily acknowledge the deep historical connection between the two studies' developments. In the earliest days of man's study of the stars in the night sky, astronomy and astrology were used as a single science to map the stars and use those maps to navigate at night. Another use of astronomical observation was to determine the seasonal cycles. Astronomy was a way of identifying the stars themselves and looking at the topography of the celestial sphere. Through these observations, we were able to understand the concepts of precession, or the Earth's wobble as it spins around the Sun, and also the orbits of the planets in their path around the Sun. As the great events in history were observed with these movements of the planets through the constellations, thus astrology was born. Since the meaning via science was not unattainable, astrologers turned to mysticism to explain correlations. The planets were given characteristics, as were the constellations, and the combinations of their meanings defines astrology. Astrology is the greatest storyteller's handbook. All the archetypes are there with full descriptions performed by everyone on the planet for us to observe. It gives us the descriptive words to describe personalities as a set of good and bad qualities, balanced by a person's age, experiences, social groupings, etc. Here are 4 signs as examples. Aries, the ram. Element, fire. Already the words impulsive, energetic, pioneering, courageous, impatient come to mind. Almost any connotation of the element and the symbol can be made into meaning. Astrology is limited only by the imagination of the observer. Fire signs are based in action. Pisces, the fishes. Element, water, swimming in a yin-yang circle into the dream world, back to the real world. Easily deluded, compassionate, understanding, inspired. Pisces commiserates with those who share their fears and their worries. Water signs are based in emotion. Libra, the scales. Element, air, flighty, indecisive, open-minded, fair, seeking balance. They like to gather all opinions to make their case as solid as possible. Air signs are ruled by intellectual pursuits. Virgo, the virgin. Element, earth, purity, perfection, anxiety, criticism, rigidity. Virgos are bold with new ideas, but shy with their personal feelings. Earth signs are based in stability and routine. The 10 planets minus Earth plus the Sun and the Moon as luminaries are in constant cycles through the constellations or houses, which represent the different areas of our lives. As their movements are observed, they are expressed in our daily horoscopes. This is a natal chart. It represents where the planets were when I was born, the start of my universal clock. It began with the 10 planets in defining positions. Those positions, or aspects as astrologers refer to them, explain my basic characteristics in everything from love and career, home and family, spirituality, to sense of self. After studying many charts myself, I found the most important signs, foremost, that affect the most fundamental characteristics of a person are as follows: the Sun, the Moon, Venus, and Ascendant. The Sun is our driving force, the largest celestial object in our area of space. It dominates a person's personality, and thus the sign that everyone is familiar with is actually their sun sign. It is what we yearn to express and create in this world as we live our lives. The Moon is our emotions, our feelings, how we react to the world, and our experiences. As so much in the world changes our emotional state from day to day, it is fitting that the Moon, with its rapid changing cycles, reflects this aspect of our personality. Venus is the planet of love and money, so how we view wealth, of loving attention, and monetary value both have to do where Venus was when you were born. Venus, in an air sign, for example, will value intellectual stimulation, whereas Venus in a fire sign will value action. Ascendant. This sign is not actually determined by a particular planet's position, but rather an aspect they create in comparison to one another. It represents how we are perceived by the outside world, and this is intriguing because while the sun is what drives us, the ascendant is how we present ourselves. Some of the pros of astrology are learning how to accept others as some of their good and bad qualities. Understanding that all personalities have strengths and weaknesses makes the experience of getting to know people a study of self and selves rather than a study of your opinions versus mine. Some of the cons of astrology are that some people believe that astrology is hokum or some kind of obtuse religion. Some people use astrology as a way of filtering out incompatible people. I reject both of these views of astrology, as I have seen its use as an enriching, enjoyable way of getting to know people. I believe that the myths told through astrology play out every day, and the opportunity to watch how each archetype plays to its narrative is fascinating. The greatest value in knowledge I can gain from astrology is not knowing how people are defined by their signs, but how the people define their signs.